So, you know, this idea came to me that there are not only player alignments, but there's also dungeon master alignments. Okay, and this is big. I only have two different dichotomies here, two different polarizations. Honestly, if I could, I'd make a z-axis that comes out the middle. But these ones are really big here. Okay, by far and large, the authority to liberty scale is huge. It's huge. Basically, authority is how much control you put over the players. Okay, how much control you actively intervene to make things keep moving. All right. And liberty is kind of just making a sandbox and unleashing them on it. Okay. This is kind of like a roguelike game in a way. It's like, here's the pieces, keep putting them together until something comes together. And then you've got concrete and then you've got abstract. So, concrete is when you have everything meticulously laid out here and there. And that takes a lot of time, a lot of the dungeon master's time. It's a very painstaking process when it comes to concrete, because you're detailing every square foot of the world. Okay, and then there's abstract, which is kind of like improvisation. You're kind of just like rolling with it, and it's developing organically. The world's developing organically. But you could call this lazy too. That doesn't require too much planning to keep going. But let me just show you how things kind of work. At least in my eyes. For me, I started off down here, but I quickly realized that a good DM has to be authoritarian. A good DM has to be, I believe, a despot. Now I'm not knocking other DMs, sorry, but the DM that I want to be is authoritarian. Okay, there are going to be people in your group that suck. Okay, so this is also about housekeeping as well. You've got to feel free to say goodbye. I got rid of 3 players, and I told them, when you unfuck yourself, you can come back. I gave them warnings, and they just didn't. They didn't respect my authority. And that's really bad, because the DM has to have complete creative freedom. As soon as the DM's creative freedom is compromised, everything falls apart. Okay, everything falls apart. Every NPC, every wave, every cloud in the sky is under control of the DM. They need to make this come together into one concise picture. Otherwise, just go play a video game. It's gonna be put together better. The video games are very authoritarian, very authoritarian. And so, if there's a squabble in the party, Mr. Authoritarian, if they can't settle it quickly, I figure out some way for it to get settled or make it moot. The civil wars last for so long, and it would be one thing. It would be one thing if you killed a player's character and that character chilled out because its next character isn't the character you killed, but they hardly end up like that. So I go to authoritarian because civil war. I go to the abstract because, I really believe that improvisation is great. I think that every single person there has something to offer. I played a game. I was running a game not too long ago with this player, and I listed all these characters. One was a priest, a pauper, a prince, and there was like 10 of them, right? And she's like, well, was one of them a paleontologist? And instead of saying no, I was like, oh, wow, the paleontologist is already on the station. She said it as a joke. Because it was just a joke to her, but you can run with it and you can work with it. And I'm not saying to turn your game into an active meme, because the problem with this is you can become a yes man. With going like I am right here, you can become a yes man. And that absolutely inflated the ego of one of my players to the point that he was insurmountable. So I had used my authority to remove him. Next, we've got Mike. Mike is between the abstract and the concrete. There's kind of like this feedback loop that's he listens to you, so you have to listen to him. That's why he's in the center. The game is actively being developed as the players play it, and so you have to be careful with what you say. I mean, but you're not careful because it's Dungeons and Dragons. You're having a great time, and so like for example, Slipjab wanted to go find a cave. They were going up a mountain, wanted to find a cave, and lo and behold, there was a cave there. Maybe it was just a quinky dink. Maybe that was just a quinky dink. I don't know. Some player was fiddling around with dark symbols, and so that became an entire point. So there, but at the same point though, there's this dogmatic appeal to the rules, and like okay, and there's a riddle, right? And the answer to the riddle was day and night, but we put in night and day, so that didn't solve the riddle. That's why he's kind of in the center. It's developing. But there's very little give when it comes to very specific scenarios. And, he doesn't have the authority. So there's toxic players there. There's 3 very toxic players there. Okay, 2 toxic players and 1 player that's getting there. And so I would definitely recommend that he just boots them. I mean, they're not your friends, okay? I don't know how to put this. Your players are not your friends. If you want to run an incredible D&D game, your players are not your friends. You gotta. I mean, he removed me. He removed me, so maybe he does have a bit. He does have a lick of this, but maybe. And of course, I put all these dungeon masters at different extremities here. So I'm kind of just trying to establish massive dichotomies that might not necessarily be a scale. I just want to show you, generally speaking, where people would line up. And so like you've got to be able to pull the trigger on that. The reason the trigger was pulled on me and not on them is they've been playing for years or something. But it just those guys aren't a lot of fun. And now we have 9 people in the party, so there's got to be some triggers pulled because it's a lot to juggle. It's absolutely a lot to juggle. 9 people, 4 of them online, 5 of them in person, and the party split into 4 different groups between that. And that's this though. That's this right here. And honestly, this can work really, really well. This can work really, really well. The thing with Mike is, I would never in a million years call him a bad dungeon master. I wouldn't be caught dead calling him a bad dungeon master. There's things I would do differently because I don't trust the players. But if things go well, it'll be so rewarding. We will be leading ourselves. We will have a sense of direction that he won't even okay, look, what he does is he just gives you like a breadcrumb, some sort of minute detail that doesn't seem like a lot at face value. You have to follow it. You have to follow it. You have to see it. That's how he leads you on. Okay, and it's really, when it works out, it's beautiful. When it works out, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a mix between the abstract and the concrete. All right, they support each other, and I believe that's where this campaign is going to go. I just need to get people in shape. It relies heavily on this right here. Relies heavily upon actual player participation. So I don't know. I believe that it works. It just the players have the player. It relies on the players. And honestly, if you're relying on the players, the game was rigged from the start. Next, there's my buddy Curtis, and Curtis, like, I am absolutely astounded with the maps he makes. He is on the concrete side of things. I am absolutely just baffled with how much detail is put into them. I don't even remember what medium we were playing on, but like everything was meticulously laid out. We're talking about entire districts of cities. up to like a 5x5 tile. Okay, I don't know how he does it. I honestly don't even know how he does it. It's something I could never probably ever want to do or will do, but it's immersive. At the very least, it's immersive. You feel like there's been some incredible planning put into things. But once again, he's kind of on the Liberty side of things. I was playing that Black Crusade game, and it was just me and another player, and we got into a squabble, and so he just ended up like killing me or something. And the reason why I'm always going to purport this is the adventure has to go on. All right, if you're not doing the adventure, the game breaks. Look, you can do anything in Dungeons and Dragons. You can do anything in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, but it's not a ship simulator. I mean, unless that's the whole theme is swashbuckling, then sure, why not? It's not a city planning simulator. I mean, there's plenty of potential here to make it one of the. I mean, okay, it has to be an adventure game. Every single time, it has to be an adventure game with adventurers, and the more you stray from that, the less the game works. In my opinion, the less rewarding it is. The game has blind spots. The game has a blind spot, and the massive one in this game is the fact that it has to be an adventure. It just, in my understanding, that's the most rewarding part of it. That's when the game's running at its finest. And this helps you get there. This, personally to me, this helps you get there. Now, the key with being authoritarian is not having a self-insert character. Mike, I would almost even put him right here. Just because even though he was giving us all liberty to do what we wanted, he never interjected, he had a self-insert character. And it's no fun. It's no fun to be told exactly what to do, okay? No, it's no fun to be told exactly what to do. I railroad sometimes at the beginning of a session just to get things rolling, just to have a nice, concise starting point where everyone knows where everything happened, because players are coming and going, and sometimes people don't remember what happened 2 weeks ago. But I never force them into anything. I never force, and it's to a fault. It's definitely to a fault. They stayed at Gloomsdale for like 6 or 8 sessions, and so it was just one Microsoft Paint document that wasn't done too well that they had to look at for, what is that, like 24 hours or something, 18 hours. And so even if you are authoritarian, even if you have a massive amount of control over your players, it's how you exercise that control, okay? I really enjoy, what helps me out with this is there's an infamy, there's an infamy and a corruption system that I use that I've bastardized from Black Crusade. And basically infamy is good boy points. Corruption is bad boy points. So, you do something really messed up or something, you're going to become more corrupted. And this can lead to mutations, some of them good, some of them bad. Infamy, it just helps you out with everything. So I'm constantly feeding them these little tidbits. And you could probably do this with experience. Honestly, if you can remember this and you feel as if you want to really crunch the numbers, I mean, the most typical analog to this would be divvying out experience points. Mike divvied out experience points to me to lead me on, and that was so rewarding. He's like, you have this for good role play, have this for good role play, and it was so rewarding. It was so rewarding because I knew exactly what he was looking for, and I got a stimulus as soon as I did it. So there's this association here. But he trained me. After a while, he just trained me to do certain things and to be clever, because that's what he wants to see. So you got to train your players, okay? You got to use this creatively, because I mean, I used to be kind of like, I don't know. I used to, yeah, I guess I've always been here, but you gotta, it's give and take.